Are you wearing overalls?
I'm wearing overalls.
Cool.
There we go.
I wish I had overalls now.
Oh man, you should buy some. It's like I'm bringing it back.
You're bringing it back? Really?
I don't know if it ever left, but
Right. I mean, overalls. It's an American thing. By the way, thank you. I still wear this.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
I was gonna wear it, but it's kind of hot in here. So it's humid and like 80 in Texas. So, but I still have it and I wear it because it's badass. And let's face it, Happy Dad is badass, and it's an American legend already. So, are you ready to start, Sam?
I am. You like my display background?
I do like that.
You got to start the year with when you're interviewing people, we can't be in just offices. People got to step up and have like cool. I'm gonna start the trend of who has like the best display in your interviews.
Because you know why?
Massive
displays sell product.
Yeah, exactly.
Displays.
So as if your entire staff wears overalls.
You've encouraged me. I'm going to go online and see if I can get some overalls because I used to wear overalls as a child and everybody made fun of me.
So here's the trick. You got to get the overalls with the zippers. So when you go to a bathroom, you don't have to go the whole thing.
That's a great tip.
What are these? These are Levi's. Levi's overalls. America's best choice since 1873.
I mean, you can't deny they've been an American tradition since 1876. So I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to BeerNet Radio, the podcast where all your dreams come true. I'm here with Sam Shahidi, who is co-founder of Happy Dad Hard Seltzer. And Happy Dad has really bucked the trend of the seltzer overall trend, which has been soft in the last 2 years. And yet you guys have really kicked ass. And so I was looking at our original podcasts from 2 years ago when I first met you in Austin. And I just want to apologize for the audio on that podcast. It was terrible. It was before I really knew what I was doing.
Yeah, it took you 2 years to figure it out.
Yeah, it took me 2 years. Yeah. And then the second podcast, I watched part of that one too. And you were that's when you were like, okay, we figured out we need feet on the street. We need to hire people in market. And yeah, that's when you were really getting your stride. You were hiring 4 people a week. And so give us an update on Happy Dad in general, where we're sitting now in January of 2025.
Yeah. So, I think our last podcast was this time.
It was a year ago. Yeah.
That was exactly a year ago. Right. So I believe back then we were ranked in IRI 52 weeks, number 8 in the seltzer malt seltzer category. We're now number 4. So shot up.
There you go.
Shot up 4 spots. We're up 72% while all of our competitors above us are down double digits except White Claw. White Claw is up about 2%. So we're on fire and on that end, and we could go into details, and we've talked about this in the past, but we're now not a hot new brand or a trendy brand, and we skipped the sophomore slump and kept selling, and we're going to our 4th year. So we launched in June. For folks that aren't familiar with the brand, we started in June 2021, right? And now we're in 36 states. We're nationwide in Canada. We could chat about Canada and that business because a lot of folks don't really talk about Canada. But
and the reason we don't talk about it, Sam, is because we don't care.
Well, you know what? I hope nobody cares because we're crushing it there. And I look, as much as this amazing display behind us and everything, I call ourselves a North American company, not a U.S. company.
Yes.
So,
because and let's the Nelk boys who are affiliated somewhat with Happy Dad are from Canada. Or
a couple of one of them is and people from Canada visit the US and people from the US go to Canada.
I mean, I keep hearing that. I
just
don't know anybody.
So you're really far away from Canada.
Maybe it's because I'm from Texas.
We just
don't even think about it.
Sorry, we're North America and then there's Texas.
Right. Which is pretty much part of Mexico. I get what you're saying.
Very debatable. But but we're in 36 states, but we are national. Yeah, in Canada, which we launched February this year, which we have some insane stats. And we closed the year at 3.5 million cases depleted and sold. So, which is really cool because we were really smart with our inventory this year in a lot of ways. And so learning over the last couple of years, not having alcohol experience 3.5 years ago, but I could probably tell you every franchise law in every state at this point is but we so 3.5 million cases. And I'll tell you that because I think in our last call, our last thing, our goal was 4 million, but there's been some changes that happened this past year in the market and everything. Not us, not really a seltzer thing. It was just more of a culture of distribution changed a lot in this past year, beer and wine and spirits as a whole. So that kind of slowed us down a little bit, even though our business and pods have been crushing it. About 120 employees overall across North America. We slowed down the hiring to really get and focus on training and growing our team. And we went on a big hiring thing. We hyper focused with everybody. And we're going to start hiring around late Q1 again. But, it was one of those things we grew really fast in a great way. And we were just like, all right, we have enough people. Let's go not grow too fast and get too bloated. And we hire the right people, the right market. We have regional chain managers. We have an incredible executive at Benville now that, just slowly works on Walmart and the world of Walmart that I'd love to talk about a little bit of kind of our success there. We have a director of C-stores. There's all these like amazing people that we've hired. So we're not a, up and coming company anymore. We're a machine at this point. And more importantly,
I mean, what I hear you saying is that you've gotten to the scale where you can have a category management team that focuses on chains instead of just in-market people, which is important, in-market people. But really, when you get to this level, getting to the chains, having a team to call on chains and having programs for those chains is becoming important to you.
Yeah, well, here's a crazier thing that we've done in this past year is, so 2 years ago, our ABPs, right, annual business planning, that some people might not know what an ABP is, but
thank you for saying that. I know what an ABP is, of course.
Yeah, but we got some new listeners.
Some of our listeners who are new and young may not know, so thank you for clarifying.
I didn't know what ABP was 2 years ago.
No, listen, I don't even know what it is today. I famously don't know what any acronym means, and I have to ask people to explain it. But thank you.
Yeah, it took me like 13 of them to finally figure out what it was because I was like, I was APB, ABP, whatever it was. So annual business planning. So you want to do those in like late September, October, November, and that's like planning for next year and talking to all your wholesalers and everything. 2 years ago, we had like 12 of them, even though we were at like 22 distributors, and it was just kind of like 8 slides. Hey, here's what we're doing. We're launching these flavors, and that's really it, right? The past year, we had all of them, 76 of them, and it was probably a 30-page deck, which sounds a lot, but it's not when we get really quick and efficient. They're only an hour long, so we didn't drag our feet with anybody. We're really snappy and quick at things. But, we had programming. Hey, this is what Q1, Q2, this is what summer looks like. This is all the arsenal of our business going into a year. Now, this sounds like something redundant if you're, Molson Coors or Pabst or, AB. But when you're a new guy and being able to build that out is one thing. And then, our forecasting, we have incredible team members and we call it bottoms up forecasting. So now, for the first time ever, we were able to go down very granular, down to like pretty much almost like store category level and say, this is what you need to do to grow your business 20%, 40, 80, 100, depending on how the market looks. And it's not like, hey, here's your number. I need you to hit it. It's like, here's your number and here's how we together are going to hit it. And that is a big thing, right? It's the difference of we together, right? So going back to what you're saying on a chain team, right? There's one thing of us calling on it, but when you call it together with your distributors and, they've probably had 30-year relationship or new, or, sometimes they cycle. When you go in together and you have a plan, which again, establish 20, 30-year-old, 50-year-old companies do this in their sleep. But the new guys, which 3.5-year-old company, you come in, you start turning on business like no other. You obviously have to have sales and great product, but when you have that, you got to kind of build that in a way. So that's what we've done, and we're just firing off pods all day and turning it on, but more importantly, watching the business. So there's one thing. Yeah, thank you for turning us on, but let's go make sure that we're in stock. So we have a thing, and not to talk too much, but a quick thing. We call it a red bar report. So we have a report that if somebody hasn't sold in, let's say, a Walmart or a Kroger, because we buy the data for one of them, and then the other one we get for free from Walmart, is we're watching that business, and we're like, if something hasn't moved in like 4 weeks, we're letting our wholesalers know, because they got a lot of brands and everything, right? So we're supporting them and saying, hey, can you look into this? Because something's weird that it's not moving. And it's like, look, box got ripped. It's not there. Something happened. It's hidden behind somebody else's pallet, whatever it is, right? So that's like what we do all day is, yes, we get it. We get the authorization, which we're very thankful of. But then let's go and make sure we grow our business in there and watch that in a way and really support that. And that's the second wave of it, right? Because you're on a clock with a chain. That thing ain't moving. You're out as quick as you got in.
Right.
So,
No, I mean, when I worked for a distributor, I worked for a Miller distributor. We would famously, Bud Ice, we would stick it under, we would just hide it in the cooler so that nobody knew where it was. These are the tricks.
That why Bud Ice fell apart?
What's that?
You were the reason why Bud Ice didn't grow is because that was all you doing that thing?
Well, it's funny you say that because Bud Ice has grown ever since then, and it doesn't stop. And listen, I'm watching you, Bud Ice. I'm watching you.
I actually liked Bud Ice when it first came out.
Well, yeah, we all did, and that's what it was. It was terrible.
I think we're about to make it go viral again because the two of us.
We probably are. You know what? I should just shut up. But you make a great point. Going back, because that's the thing that set it and forget it. Like that old what was that? Like some sort of rotisserie chicken thing that some guy was selling on TV. You go set it and forget it. That doesn't work in this industry. When you get a chain authorization, that's just the beginning, right? You've got to come back and make sure that first of all it's delivered and it's priced, and then you have repeat.
And then your tag's still there because someone like you back in the day is ripping that thing off, even though you're not supposed to, but it happens, right? Also, just
assholes.
But what's also interesting is the velocity, right? Because if you have a hot brand like ours, and so many stores, all these authorizations, they're not going to come in and be like, oh, you got authorized. Let's bring a pallet in. Let's see how it is. Everybody's so sensitive with inventory. So they're coming in with 2-4 cases, right? And that's like a barbecue for one person. And so you're watching that and you're like, hey guys, we got to watch this because that could be 100 case account a week, but we've been out of stock because you think that 4 cases we did a good job. We're like, no. We're at a brand that's got some velocity, if that makes sense, right? So you're constantly watching that. Then you show that velocity, and then you go to the manager and be like, hey, man, do you see how well this is selling? Can I get that big old display next to the Doritos? And the guy's like, damn, you're right. I didn't know that because I've been too busy, managing the whole grocery store, right? And we have to educate them every week. So that's the other angle is like, you got to be an incredible storyteller of this is a reason. Let me show you. And for us, the better you could explain that to people, and I could, our team could have that ammunition of storytelling and be like, hey, local distributor in Houston, look at these amazing things happening. I know you're looking at it, but we just saw it because this is the only job we have.
Right.
Here you go. And that guy's like, shit, I'm going to go in there and tell the story real quick and add a pallet display because this store's on fire. And there's a flip side to that too. You also don't want to over inventory a market that maybe your brand just doesn't move. And that's not because your brand doesn't move. It's just because a market might be like, there's stores that won't sell a single White Claw or anything. It's like a diehard Mickey's Busch Light account, right? And like some part of America that just doesn't care about any seltzer, right? And I mean, might be Natty Light's #1 account,
Right.
So
exactly.
So it's like
Midwest.
It's like knowing your stores, which is really something that I've learned and our team has learned is like, let's not force anything in. Let's go massage it in. And then one flies, let's take over that, win that over, and eventually win the rest of the villages of stores and everything. So you got to just be patient.
So when I remember talking with you in Austin when you first started, and you were like, we're going with RNDC and breakthrough in some markets, and which great companies. We all know that. Some executives at RNDC live here in San Antonio, and I saw them last night. We're great friends. However, wine and spirits distributors, while great when you're getting started, because they cover several states,
Yep.
and you just have one point of contact. On the other hand, they're not like a volume. They're not used to this C-store kind of volume play where you're making that C-store 2 or 3 times a week. And so I've heard through the grapevine that some changes are in the works. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I could talk about it. It's we're going public on our end. There's some rumors going around. The word's going around, but so yeah, one of those things. One is RNDC we got passed by everybody. Think about this. In June 2021, we are 4 guys, 2 YouTubers, 2 guys with no alcohol experience, me and my brother, and we're trying to sell seltzer at peak seltzer season, June 2021. Right? And this is like when cans, you couldn't even buy a can because everything was it was a gold rush and nobody wanted to mess with us. I wouldn't even sign us up. Like it was just a dumb business model, right? We're just another thing, right? But they didn't know. But they didn't know, like, the history of me and my brother and like just kind of the power of what we've done over the 15 years in the past. RNDC did, right? And Chris Carlos and David Booth, too, folks there, and then eventually Ken Rosenberg and bunch of other guys that joined us. They believed in us. They were the first guys to sign up. I mean, everybody passed on us. Everybody did. And I would never change that path because there's no way a guy that knew nothing about alcohol would be able to support 20 wholesalers in Michigan, 20 in California, and not 6 in Louisiana, right? They just couldn't do that, right? So that's one. And they helped us prove our business model, right? And take us from 0 to 4. And yeah, other states have support that and everything, but they were 50% of our business in a sense where, I mean, you're talking Texas, Florida, California, Georgia, South Carolina, and like a few other states, about 10 states total, and DC. There's no way our business would have gone to where it is without them, right? And the journey that they put in, because that's not their DNA. They're not a malt company. They're wine and spirits. And so they took us to this journey, which has been absolutely incredible. And we had a really great conversation. I was like, guys, like for us to be number 2 and 1 in the next 4 years, we got to hit every corner of America, every county. I don't care anymore about how big we are in Louisiana and Texas. I care about how big we are in every county in America. We have to win every county over. That's the way we could get there. And we have a very short period because we're on fire. People love our product. They love our brand. The seltzer category is in a really interesting place because, there's a stigma of it being down, but it's not. It's just, crappy seltzers are down. And no offense to everybody, but it's true. And maybe 10 SKUs of a non-selling brand, you don't bring that in. But we're very, we're designing that. So I appreciate everything you guys have done. And, honestly, if you guys had 8,000, or 5,000 C-store reps across those states, once you start adding everybody up, we wouldn't be moving, right? So it was a really positive thing. And as much as toxic this industry can be with what we call breakups, this wasn't a breakup. This was a high five and thank you for this. And they've been really great with it. And obviously there's some, it's not just a clean thing. Obviously they deserve, there's a buyout in this, which should, as they are deserved to get that. But
yeah, because you build a brand, you want to get compensated.
Everybody has that clause. Everybody does, right? And it's really easy for people to go in and turn this into a toxic thing. And it was the exact opposite. It was awesome. And they're really, really good people. There's a lot of them are going to be my friends for life. They've taught me a lot about this business. And honestly, they did everything in their power to get to those levels where they're at today. Now, in 3-5 years, when they start building out their C-store, if that's their model, because it takes a while, right? It ain't going to happen in 1 year. But as they are, and they already started that in some states, once that happens and then they get all that relationship, then, it's a different ballgame if they go that route. But C-stores is a tough business, right? It's,
Oh,
the cost of trucks right now are really high, the labor and all that. So the volume isn't there. You have to have 5 or 6 incredible brands for it to be worth.
yeah. You have to have either Bud Light or Michelob Ultra, Busch, Miller Lite, Coors Light, or Modelo to hit C stores because
you need 3 of those together. You can't even have one, right? It's
That's
not
right.
even, it's not there. You need enough to fill that truck. And ideally, some of these guys also are big non-alc guys, right? So they all have like Liquid Death and all that, so they could fill that truck up to make it worth their time. And that's really what it is. But yeah, it's a Q1 thing that's changing, and I've had incredible conversations with beer wholesalers across the state. We've had great, our team now going back to building a team. We're going from 76 wholesalers, distributors, to 260 between now and March 1st. And you know what? I
Good
love
luck.
it. I love it.
No, it's great.
Our
It's
team
great.
our team is so fired up for that journey. Like, we're going into like, the playoffs right now, right? That's the way our team's thinking.
You're going into the show. It's like you were in the minor leagues and you've been brought up to the Big Ten. You're in the show now.
Out of
right?
all these guys that we're bringing on, how many calls do you think I've been on? Out of what is that? Like, it's like 200 and minus 11. I don't know. It's like 236 or something. I'm sorry, 136 calls. How many think I've been on?
All of them.
134. My flight got delayed, and I don't like rescheduling with people because
Okay, well-
that's our first impression with them.
Right.
Almost all of them. I want to meet every single one of them.
I have to say, like, I got to give you props on that because when I first met you, I was like, it could be good. I liked you, but I didn't know how hard you would work. And the reason I know you work hard is because I follow your social media and you travel all the time. You're always in market and you have to be. And yeah, I mean, God damn. What? Hold on a
Your new
second.
puppy, though, right?
Wyatt, can you go get these dogs out of here? They all want to play right under my desk.
It's Saturday.
It's a giant. I have a huge
Saturday.
living room.
Of course, they want to play.
They just can
Dad's
you just
home hanging
you
out.
put the dogs in my bedroom or somewhere. All right, thank you, thank you, son.
You can't be grouchy talking to Happy Dad. You're the Happy
I
Dad.
know this is Happy Dad, man.
Yeah, you gotta be happy. Let them enjoy their Saturday.
Yeah,
None of them are coming. Biscuit.
none of them are coming. You have
Damn
to.
it, Biscuit.
Biscuit, come on. Come on.
Biscuit, go.
This is the one that's going crazy, huh?
Biscuit, come on.
No, there's 3 dogs in here, and all of them just want to play right at my feet. They have no idea that I have the fastest growing seltzer on the podcast live.
They do. That's why they want to be near it.
I guess
Got
so.
questions.
I guess so.
They want some of our Happy Dog toys.
Fucking dogs, man. Anyway, I
Well,
lost my train of thought.
I think
but
you
anyway,
were saying something like about meeting me. Oh, my travels.
yeah, you travel all the time. You're always in market, Sam. And if John watches this, your brother, he needs to know how you've sacrificed your life for this business. John, he sacrificed his life for this business. This is not an easy business, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I need John at like in a calm place while I'm sitting there dealing with flights and everything. I need the voice of my brother. John's my brother, by the way, everybody. He was our president. And as a CEO, I want to be out there everywhere, but I need my president, helping me and letting me, this is the thing. John's like the king of assists. All he does is like throw like once a week, he'll just throw me an assist. And I'm like, damn, that was a freaking genius idea. Let's go. And it could be the most random thing anywhere from an idea for an ASM to a display to like, hey, we should partner up with this podcast or whatever that is. And that just fires me up because, when you're traveling, and listen, the thing with traveling is I'm in the market because I want to know as much. I love it. We have a once in a lifetime brand. You know this. You've interviewed everybody. And to have brand that everybody loves drinking, loves wearing, and all we got to do is just execute better. But we can't execute when we don't know our market. And I'll give you a great example. I went to Montana and our distributor in Montana, Cardinal Beverage, they're in Bozeman. They absolutely crush it, right? AB guys, we're in the AB network there. And we ran out of coolers. So we ran out of coolers, like our Happy Dad coolers. And he was like, hey, I want to order some coolers. I'm like, why? It's winter. And to me, I'm thinking coolers is lakes, winter stuff. He's like, man, everybody goes hunting here. People go crazy over
Oh,
it.
right. And ice fishing and shit.
And all that. And I go, that's how you got to know your market. And
Right.
that to our, our whole kind of business model now is we got to own every county. We got to know that. We got to know that, there's a Huckleberry festival going on in West Virginia. And you're like, Huckleberry Festival, why should I sponsor it? I'd be like, 15,000 people show up to that thing. And you're like,
Right.
oh, wow. And that consumption might be more than Coachella. But you don't know that because everybody loves drinking during that time because that is what for 50 years people are going, And
Right.
so that's like, our whole vision of where we're going at with all these wholesalers and that, it's like there's not a single person in our company that thinks, wow, this is, oh man, there's 260 wholesalers. Oh, this is a lot of work. It's like, no. If you do it right, if you care about every single one of them, and it's going to take us time. We're not going to get it right March 1st. It's going to take us, this is a whole 2-year plan to get better and better of supporting everybody,
And so you're going with beer wholesalers. Can you give me a sense of the makeup? Is it mostly like AB guys or?
So we, it's the AB guys have done absolutely insane job with this, and some of the Molson guys have done an absolutely incredible job with this, right? So Odom Beverage in Washington, awesome. We launched them this year. They're absolutely crushing it. They're doing great. Our C-store business there is on fire. I think we're number 4. We launched this year and we're already number 4 in the C-stores there. But in Montana, for example, our AB wholesalers at like about 30-day period, we're outselling White Claw and Town Pump, and that's the AB guys coming in crushing in, and their on-premise business and their sales in Montana is outselling some of our wine and spirits guys. In Montana, you're talking about 1.1 million people compared to like 5, 8, 11, 12 million population in some of these states. In North Carolina, we're with the AB footprint, and in Pennsylvania, so like Willsbach and Penn Beer and Fuhrer, those guys and all the other guys in there in Pennsylvania, and then like Adams, RH Behringer, and all the great guys there. Like North Carolina is big, selling more than one of our top 3 states. And that's just, what they live and breathe. I mean, when I ask some of the AB guys, hey, how many days are you in a Walmart? They're like 6 to 7, depending on the volume of the store, sometimes 2-3 times a day.
Right.
They live
in there.
They live in it. They live in that, just a fridge that's like, 25 feet wide. Right. And that's it.
You might as well set up a camper outside there and just put a salesman and have them live in the camper and just go in every few hours.
Yeah. So, it's getting interesting. I could go into details, like, and not too deep details, but AB is obviously they're absolutely crushing it for us when it comes to how many states total, right? So we are leaning in on them, but Reyes has been, very active, and I've met with them, and so there might be some markets we might be going with them. I mean, we're still figuring everything out. It's my thing is I need to find out who's the best in our market, right? And if you're selling White Claw, I say, and only selling White Claw on that day, I say, oh, cool, you got Shaq, now you're about to get Kobe, and then we'll figure it, that's cool with me. And then some other states, they might have a bunch of other brands, but who knows what's going on with those brands, right? And as they lose focus on malt and go into RTD and go in that RTD war or whatever that's going, that's not us. We're a malt company. We love malt. I love 100,000 licenses versus 40,000 licenses,
Right.
But
Right.
it's
And and maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, you're a seltzer, but I feel like you compete more with beer.
Yeah.
because of
Well,
the
remember,
consumer base.
we created the brand to look and feel like a beer.
All right.
I still get this all the time, and I like it, and sometimes it kind of like hurts because someone's like, "Dude, I love Happy Dad. I'm a big fan, but I just don't drink beer." And I'm like, "Damn, it worked." But I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, we're missing that guy. I gotta now educate them that we're not, But that's why we're in a regular can, not a skinny can, right?" And the way I've explained to the people what we are is like I was like, we're like smart water, right? So we're a premium seltzer, but we're at the price of a White Claw and Truly, right? So we have electrolytes, 30% low carbonation. Great. We have the cleanest, best base brew. I know how all that works now. So we buy incredible base brew and all that. And our flavoring's really crisp, right? And why I say smart water is because smart water is just water, right? It just innovated the packaging a little bit and it added a couple little elements that just made it better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then compare it to Dasani or somebody else, right?
All right.
But then we got the energy and the coolness of what Red Bull was 30 years ago. Right? People love the energy. They want to be part of the culture. Like Red Bull is so cool. Still is, but like remember Red Bull 25 years ago, about 25 years ago was like it was like what the hell is going on here? Like you would wear a Red Bull hat all day. You would, watch these like, the events by the peers and all that stuff, right? So that's kind of the energy that we brought and yeah, we do compete against beer. Which is because the market's changed, people are gluten sensitive. I think that's one of the biggest ones,
Right.
And,
There's no gluten.
I mean, why did Tito's? I mean, there's a lot of case studies on why Tito's exploded, but Tito's was like really the first one, from my personal opinion, is really push gluten free. So it struggled, and all of a sudden that gluten like epidemic happened, and we'll call it whatever. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, it's gluten free. I'm gonna drink that, even though a bunch of other brands were already, but they kind of.
Right.
I think they leaned in on that. I don't really know too much of the history. That's just what I personally experienced. I was like, oh, I'm gonna drink that one that's gluten free.
Yeah, because I think I'm the only one that's looking for gluten. Like I look at pack, oh, it has more gluten. Thank God. I love gluten. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, nobody likes gluten. So even people who aren't gluten intolerant. And this brand, I'm pulling up some stats. Convenience success. Here's where I think that you guys have runway. Okay. So like I see Texas and C stores. What is this 6.6%? What does that mean? Number 9.
So I sent you 26 weeks IRI data, right? So this is not independence, it's not on premise, all that, right? It's just IRI data. For people that don't know IRI, it scans into groceries, and not all groceries, but limited groceries.
Yeah, and some people even call it Circana.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever the new. It's like Prince. It just changes their name all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Formerly known as IRI, now known as Circana, or is it Circana?
It's probably Circana.
Is it?
I think you're probably right. That's fancy. That sounds fancier.
Yeah. Well, for the price of it, we're gonna call it Circana for the fancy.
Yeah,
prices.
Right. About you're paying for it.
So yeah, like we're in Colorado, we're less than 1% C store. Georgia, we're 1%. Texas, we're less than 7%. South Carolina.
Is this market share?
Yeah.
What is this?
This is what percentage we're scanning into C stores.
Okay.
And remember, this is
okay. So this is market penetration.
Yes, market penetration. And here's the thing: C stores are really important to us because remember well, outside of just being a malt brand, right? Is our audience is we have two different levels. It's type of audience. People, I think, all of our audience are college kids, or young adults, right? They're not. Our average audience, I would say right now, is probably 30 to 44. Right? It's like the dads that are new families or, young families and all that stuff. That's what it is. Now, the young adults still are drinking it, but we're seeing way more excitement and activity out of them, even though the young adults is really powerful. Like we jumped on the young adults. They jumped on our brand first, but now we're evolving, right? Mm-hmm. We still have the young adults, but where do the young adults shop at? C stores.
Of course.
Right? And we're not available there at all.
No.
Right?
No,
less than 1% Colorado, less than 2% in Georgia, less than 7% in Texas, less than 8% in South Carolina, less than 3% in Florida, in California, less than 18. Like that is a massive opportunity. But, with our beer wholesalers, like, in North Carolina, we just launched this year. So 38% already. In North Carolina, you have to get authorization. So you need to build some trust and roll into it. But next year, we'll probably be at like 60%. Washington out the gates this year 2024, we launched 32%. Those are relationships that these guys have that they just plug this in because they called the homie down the street and it's like, hey, great brand. You got all these other brands. I would guarantee you that, the grape seltzer and a fruit punch, because we have 2 SKUs for our single serve 24 ounce. And the guy's like, let me try it. And everybody's like, holy cow, these sales are crazy. Like Sheetz in Pennsylvania loves us, right? But why do they love us? Because we sell. They don't love us because we're doing anything special. They love us because we're making them money. And so Idaho, we're with Odom and Watkins there. And it's a little bit of hybrid approach there. And 67%, we're number 4 in the C-store. So when we're in the beer networks, we're hanging new states this past year because we just started our C-store business in 2024. We're in a beer network, we're a 3-4 brand just in the first year. We will be 2 in about, a year and a half or so. That's kind of where our trajectory is once you kind of build the shopping habits and all that stuff, right? But just to turn on our brand, we're instantly 4 and we're a strong 3.
Right.
Sweet.
And, I noticed that, well, you've always done this, but whenever the Nelk podcast, you have like Trump or JD Vance or whoever's on the podcast, there's like a just happy dad everywhere, just placed around the set.
Well, all podcasts, doesn't matter which side you're on. It's any podcast. We obviously, because of marketing. It's
great. It's free kind of marketing. And how important is that, do you think, for brand awareness?
I think it's important, but that's not the only podcast we're part of. We're probably part of like 6 or 7 podcasts. So yeah, that one's really big during this past year. But those podcasts, I mean, kind of polarized because we were in the biggest election year, so they did it. But if we were interviewing Bernie Sanders, we would have it all over that. If we were if we were interviewing Newsom or Kamala or anybody else, we would have had it everywhere. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. We always have the brand awareness there, right? Because we don't care about what views or anything, like what political views or whatever that is. Like listen, man, if we're interviewing somebody in prison, if we can, that happy dad stuff's in the background, right? Because it's attention, right? MSNBC, AOC, all these folks all posted about those clips and everything and talked about it and whichever view that they had. But guess what? I mean, I think there was a tweet from AOC that had over 30 million views. And you know what they saw? Happy death.
Right.
That's my role and my brother's role, is to make sure that we get as much views as possible in that way, right? And there's been some beautiful podcasts and a lot of things. So how is it important? I think so. I mean, it's also fun. I mean, they're our partners, and as they're not doing any, like, they're not as much involved in, like, the front face and all that. They do their podcast world, and we just plug it in, and they do an incredible job of making sure there's good product placement. But we also run there's other ads running on there too. Ours stand out because we have great packaging.
Right. No, it is. The name is great. Everybody wants to be a happy dad.
Or a happy mom.
Or you have happy mom and then I want to talk about, is it Big Pop? Like you have
the Big Papa?
The Big Papa. That's what I want to talk
That's
about.
our 24-ounce can because
what a great name.
We don't sell tall boys at Happy Dad. We sell the Big Papa.
Big Papa.
Yes. Yeah, tall boys is kind of an old dated, thing. So our thought on that was, how do you make, our packaging is a feeling, that we want. So when you're going into a C-store and you're opening up that fridge, or if you're going to the convenience or the single serve section of Walmart or Kroger or wherever else, I want to grab a Big Papa.
Yeah.
That's
Big
the feeling
Papa
we want to create. So we added that, and it was funny because when we first did it, some of the team members were like, I don't know if we need to do that. I was like, guys, We got, trust me. And then the first day we launched, all we were getting was texts from friends and everybody saying, "Hey, how do I grab the Big Papa?"
Yeah.
Not the Happy Dad 24 ounce, not the
Big-
can I drink a tall boy? And I'll correct people all day. I'm like, we are not a tall boy company here. We're a Big Papa company.
Big Papa. and you have an American can with the stars. Tell me about that.
Let me. I can share my screen, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So no one has seen this except you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're breaking news here.
Yep, right here.
Yeah, I see it.
So we are so this is our packaging for our fruit punch. And the reason why we came up with this is because it's like I'm about to butcher this. I will figure this out as soon, but we're gonna launch this this spring. It's our semi-quintessential year of America. So that's 250 years of celebrating America. So what's gonna happen is there's a big budget. There's a committee that was started years and years ago that is in charge of bringing back a lot of American traditions. And so it's going to start around Memorial Weekend of this year, so 2025. And it's supposed to end, I believe, Labor Day of 2026, because 4th of July of 2026 is our 250th year. So it's about to be a year and some change of celebration. So I believe like the Iowa State Fair is coming back and like a bunch of really cool things. So we want to celebrate that with our fruit punch. And so the Big Papa, we got our 24 ounce and our fruit punch, we're going to repackage that, which is really fun. So now we got our Death Row Grape, we got our fruit punch, and they both crush together. So, listen, man, like America's amazing. And I think this year is going to be a really incredible year of just like people uniting and doing a lot of great things. So our whole brand is about bringing people together. So
I like that packaging.
we got to bring, have everybody in America enjoy this.
Yeah. Listen, I've lived in other countries before, and this one's the best. I always enjoy coming home here. This is the best country. I'm sorry if that sounds jingoistic.
True. What do you mean? I'm sorry about what? It's true.
It's just true. I'm sorry. I'm just speaking facts.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that packaging.
Listen, Canada's a beautiful country. It's going through some tough times, but man, if you've been to Banff or St. John, Newfoundland, I just butchered the name, and every Canadian makes fun of me about it. But Banff is insane. Like,
is it?
And
I don't spend a lot of time in Canada.
Oh my gosh, Banff!
How many St. John's are there? There's like 12 of them.
There's two. There's one in New Brunswick and one in Newfoundland.
Okay, so not 12, two. Still, it's
there's
confusing.
Two big ones, and then there might be a couple guys in like the outskirts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan or something. But
Jeez, this Canada.
Listen, if you map out, there's a place called again, my Canadian French is terrible, but we sell in like the Yukon now, the Northeast Territory or Northeast Territory. Nunavik is like literally the North Pole.
Right.
We just shipped a couple pallets there. And it's all government, right? So we like literally called the government, and so I was like, "Hello," I'm like, "Hey,"
because Canada is kind of a control state. I mean,
it is. So
because Trump thinks it will be the 51st state, and but
it's an easy conversion for us. We have 30 employees there that are fired. I'm like,
so y'all are selling the shit out of this in Canada.
Yeah,
a seltzer, which is supposed to be a summer, a drink that you enjoy out on a lake or on the beach.
We are. I'm going to give you some fast numbers, right? So, we're talking about all the provinces in Ontario, which has the LCBO, which is the largest like alcohol buyer in the world.
Yes.
We're the number one 473 ml, which is a 16-ounce can, RTD category, number one. And we're outselling the beer in there. So if you're selling Coors Light 16-ounce, we're outselling that. And we've been doing that. And we launched in February. Well, that one we launched in March or April. But this country, the first order was in February. We're the number, and in Ontario, around late July, early August, they switched and they allowed the convenience stores and the groceries to start selling RTDs, because we're an RTD there because of just how the country, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's liquor based, right? I mean,
Liquor based. Yeah, we're vodka
Yeah.
based.
right.
We're the number one single can selling in Circle K's in Ontario. We're the number one selling SKU in the Loblaw grocery chain, which is the biggest grocery chain there. And we're outselling the number 2 guy by 5x. We have 94% distribution, where this all started in August, and everybody was like chasing how to do this and everything. We have our own team. We have no agents or brokers or distributors or anything on here. We have an incredible team there. And we actually just opened up an office there, a little outside of Ontario or Toronto. 94% distribution in all grocery. 95% distribution, all LCBOs. LCBO, I think it's like 500.
You selling in the beer store?
No, that one
Because it's beer, because it's liquor. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's liquor. And then we just launched our variety pack, and we're already in like 2 months ago, and we're already at like 64% distribution. So we crush it there. In Alberta, number one in our single serves, number 1 and 3, 16 ounce, 473 ml, and the number 1 RTD in Alberta. The number 2 variety pack, we just launched British Columbia a little late in the summer. We're number 2 variety. Newfoundland, number 2 variety, RTD. This is all RTD category. So we're the number 2 RTD. In Newfoundland, British Columbia, New Brunswick, we're number 2. Prince Edward Island, we're number 1. Saskatchewan, we're number 2. Manitoba, we're number 2. And that's us, right? We are absolutely dominating.
And so why do you think that is?
So I'll tell you a couple of easy things. One, our liquid there is absolutely incredible. Our brewery out there, we use Blackfly out of London, Ontario. This team was so patient. It took us a year to formulate it, because my biggest pet peeve was I hate when American brands go to another country and say, "Oh, it's just that." No offense, and
Right.
and we'll just sell them what that's good enough. That's good enough. I want to make it absolutely incredible, right? And so we spent about a year formulating, and man, we went through so many rounds. I flew out there 4 or 6 times or something like that to get it done. So that's one. The product is probably 60% of it. Obviously, the influence of some of our partners is what helped us get people's awareness.
You're talking about Nelk.
And then the third part, we built our own team that covers about 70% of the country. We have brokers in like the Maritime, which is like the Newfoundlands, the islands, and all that.
Right.
Then a couple
Well, there's
other
like
markets.
12 people.
Yeah, but listen, every province counts. Like
Every province counts.
And so we have a great team there, but 70% of our sales is from our own sales force. We skipped working with the distributors that everybody goes. Everybody kind of works with the big threes, kind of like the states, you
Right.
know, and they work as brokers morally, not distributors. But day one, we controlled our entire destiny, and we're just growing from there. So the threes, incredible liquid, route to market influence was really quick. But then now our incredible marketing team and everybody came in and made sure that the brand didn't get polarized by just a celebrityness, So,
Right.
I mean, the guys only visited there like a couple times. It's the brand is that this logo right here is bigger than any celebrity will ever sign.
Mm.
Everybody wants to wear the logo, So,
Right.
so that's Canada. It's a beautiful journey that we've done, and honestly, I think we're all kind of blown away on the success but this shows what happens over a couple years of experience of our team and knowledge and just the way we thought route to market. So every time we launch a state, just like those C-store states I mentioned, like the Washington and Idaho's and all that, and the new states that we're going into, like the new, kind of the switch with the RFP, and then the 16 new states that we're launching, right? So we're going to be in like, the Indianas and the Dakotas and all that stuff. Is we have such a route to market plan, and that's where we're like obsessed over. Is like, how do we get really, really, really organized? Like, Harry, we're building a dashboard right now that you could go and look into every county and know who your contact is, what resets they're in, what influence is going on in there. Is there a chili festival, whatever that is? What have we done over the last the past history of that? So any employee that ever leaves that market and they come back in, somebody could literally go and be like, this is exactly how you communicate work with that.
So it's like like a computer database or something like
Yeah,
that?
so we're not using Power BI or any of that. We're building everything from scratch because
Yeah.
me and my brother's background in the past pre the celebrity world and entertainment was we came from tech. So I'm sitting here looking at like, all this data is so slow and inefficient. And I'm like, but having the knowledge of a market, like right now, if I told any of my guys, hey, who's our wholesaler in like Southeast Mississippi, they got to go to like a Google sheet. And this way, everybody's like, how do we get all that? But it's like, what if we created a platform that everybody lives on and you could see and be like, instantly, you could understand. It's like the Wikipedia of that market. And you spend 20 minutes and you could be like, download on every single thing that ever happened in that market. And we're building that going into this whole change so that as we have staff members that are, getting promoted, no one's like, oh man, how do we like that guy knows everything about the Southeast. What do we do? I'm like, no, just new guy could come in, go in the system, learn.
See, that seems really valuable.
Yeah, huge.
I'm not even sure how many. I mean, I know the big companies probably do that, but I don't.
Yeah, but
hear
probably
about.
clunky though, right? This is not new. Like this is like the Tesla of dashboards, right? This is not
Right.
They probably have like really good They have like a Mustang, right? Which great car.
Hey, Mustang. Not gonna knock it
right?
here. But you're gonna catch me knocking a Mustang.
But we can do software updates while people are sleeping really fast every day. And
I drive a Tesla. It drove me and my mother to a funeral yesterday, and my mother's like, "Why aren't you
driving?
Why aren't you touching the wheel?" I'm like, "Mother, Elon knows where to go. Okay, I don't know where this church is. The car knows where to go. I'm gonna sit back and let it do its thing." And it did it. It took us right there, parked it. I mean, this car's 5 years old too. It's not even new.
But it was a software update.
It's a software update.
I was driving our like Happy Dad Cybertruck the other day, and the fog was crazy. I barely could see 150 feet, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this crap. I'm like full self-driving mode. Go, take me home. I am not gonna figure this out.
No,
I turn that thing on. I'm like, let the computers go take me home. They can drop me off right in front of my house.
It's changed my life. I didn't, because it didn't, when I bought the car, it didn't even have it that, it was.
No, it was just one day you woke up and it was there.
It was there. And it like, it goes everywhere now for me. I'm not a great driver. I know that surprises many of our listeners. I'm not a great driver. I have a flaw in my eyesight. I'm distracted. I have ADHD. There's a lot of reasons why I'm not a good driver.
All of us are like that.
Yes. In this car, I say, Elon, take the wheel, and it takes the wheel.
If you go on X, there's all these incredible videos of full self-driving of like someone almost hitting a deer and the car just figured it out. We're sitting there swerving off the damn road and crashing into a tree. This thing's like,
No.
Like,
when it sees a deer, it stops, carves it up, butchers it, cooks it, and puts it in my trunk before I even know what's going on.
Yeah, and you don't even have a Happy Dad cooler to put it in, right? So it just goes straight into the...
Oh, I have a Happy Dad cooler. Don't you worry about that.
Oh, yeah, because Montana doesn't. You're the one that took it.
I'm the one. No, that's great. Well, anyway, we got kind of sidetracked about the freaking Tesla, but
But I was talking about tech, right? It's like making our team more efficient, right?
Right.
And my whole vision for the next couple of years is how do we minimize emails and replies and all, like, how do we make things easier? Because here's the thing, like, if I have an article, right, like whenever there's a piece that says Happy Dad's up, whatever, double digits, I have to sit there and copy paste, and I could do groups in Gmail and whatever, right? But like the fact is, it takes time, and I'd rather put that time in strategizing and talking to another wholesaler and distributor and building, figuring out how to broker the business, not sit there and be like, oh, did I have enough people in this group or this thing? And did everybody realize what this is? And we're constantly getting new news, right? New information from a reset to whatever that is. Who do you send it to? Whatever. Our whole team is spending all this time creating little reports and making pivot tables and this and that. It's like, dude, why can't we just make this way more efficient? And you can. So we're hiring, we have an incredible engineer. We're hiring multiple now, and our whole business is save that time so we could go and spend time with our distributors in market or on calls and educate them on something incredible for them to go and get better displays for us. That's really the journey.
Man, I think you're onto something there. I mean, not just in this industry, but really every industry. The amount of time wasted copying and pasting and I mean, I'll give you an example. I'll give you just a quick example. I'm going on Fox News tomorrow to talk about the Surgeon General, doing a Hail Mary in the last few days, wanting to put cancer notices on alcoholic beverages. So I got called by a producer yesterday. She was like, but I'm really just filling in. There's another producer who really needs to do this. And then we bring that producer. There's just, all of this is a Zoom call that's going to last 10 minutes tomorrow. I've gotten text, emails, everything. And I'm thinking, there's got to be a better way. Like this is absurd. And this happens every day with everybody. Just, I know AI is, going to help with this as soon as we can figure out how to implement it. But I think you're onto something, just consolidating all the data and having the right people being able to access it in one place.
Yeah, and just make it easy. VIP is a great platform. It's taking that VIP data and then processing it in a way that we read it. So I don't want us to wake up in the morning and chase the data. I want to take that data. We have it. It's beautifully, in organized in VIP. Then we're just going to turn it into what makes sense by market. Right. And so, and then that's on the flip side, by the way. We're also going to build that out for our distributors and wholesalers by the way, what's the correct way? Is a wholesaler or a distributor?
Man, we've had this fun. This has been a debate that's gone on since I've been in the business for 30 years.
Can we pick one on this and make it final? And then this is 25.
I mean,
25 way.
It's distributor, even though the National Beer Wholesalers Association, the NBWA, is called wholesalers. A wholesale to me seems like you're a warehouse and people can come and get it. Distributor means that you're pushing the product and selling it. And so I tend to go with distributor.
I think they need to call the there's like those other classes in like Pennsylvania and everything that you could buy, and they're like a distributor because like the on-premise could buy from them.
Right.
That's a wholesaler.
That's a wholesaler, right? In Pennsylvania,
which is a wholesaler and a retailer, but that now we're getting even more complicated. Let's take
right. No, and then Pennsylvania, yeah. I mean, talk about another. That's like selling beer on Mars.
Yeah,
going into Pennsylvania, it's. I mean, I don't even want to get into that, but it's. That's what I love about this is every state's different.
It's so different. It's so wild. It's. I mean, and that's why I love being on these calls with every one of our distributors. So I'm now calling distributors first. So if we could go back and start this whole interview over, I'm going to cut out every.
It's all right. I'll have AI do it.
Yeah, just do that. Is you just learn about every single market, and it's actually a beautiful thing. And what's interesting about like our new beer partners that we're bringing in is just the upside for them, right? Like. They're taking in what's happening right now, and it's just about to explode, right? Because none of these guys, they just got White Claw, right? You think about the seltzer category, and everybody's talking about, oh, it's down. It's like, no, like seltzers aren't going away.
It's a huge category, and it's flat. I mean, White Claw's up a little.
Flat because it exploded, and then there was like this world of craziness, right? And then now that world of craziness now is hanging out in the RTDs, and but at the end of the day, I think Mark Anthony they had a conference like a couple months ago, and they set something in some type of context in a way of like the only two players are us and them, like White Claw.
No, I was there, and that is true. Yeah, I mean, the way the U.S. is set up, everybody knows this, is that if you're going to make it liquor based, it's twice the tax rate. So you're in a totally different price range. If you're going to, and you can't sell it in a lot of places, especially like in Texas, you can only sell it in liquor stores. So, you have to be malt based in the United States if you want to have scale, and you have to be in C stores. Bottom line, no bullshit. You
Yep.
have to do it that way. And it's all, and like you said, these beer distributors that are, doing buyouts with, RNDC or Breakthrough, whoever, they're going to make their money back. I don't want to, I would, in my opinion, they're going to make their money back quick because all they have to do is increase distribution in C stores and they're going to kill it.
On premise. And then also the other thing that is just large format. Like they're going to go in. I have the numbers, like any beer wholesaler, we're like 3-4x the volume in a store because they're going in and it's just because they're going in there so often, right? They're going there 3, 4, 5 times, 7 times a week, right?
Yeah.
So I got a really cool stat I want to share with you is the seltzer category in Walmart. So this is a stat that we pulled from the Walmart kind of world, right? So Walmart in the seltzer category, 52 weeks before we were in like one state with Walmart at the before May of 2024. They brought us into 2,900 locations, of over 7,000 pots, right? And think about Walmart. Walmart's not like, oh, these guys are cool brands, they're nice guys, they're innovators, they're like sales data. These guys are selling in other places, we got to bring them in. And it took them 2 years to bring us in, and they brought us in. And beautiful team, incredible team. And obviously we have an incredible executive, Jeff Green at Benville, who has been working with Walmart for like 20 years. So he's just like knows how to go through like their whole system and make sure we're not screwing anything up. So if I zoom in, because this is a podcast, people want to see 52 weeks, they were down 7.6%.
Wow.
And in May 2024, they brought Happy Dad in. When they brought Happy Dad in, 26 weeks, they're down 6.1, 13 weeks, 3. They're cleaning up right now. And now in the 4 weeks, they're 1.2. So they're going to be in the black in the seltzer category going into Q1.
And that's because of Happy Dad is what you're saying? Like
they brought us in and we're crushing in single serves, our 12 packs. They're going all in. They turn on pretty much all our SKUs. Again, why? Because we're selling, not because of in our service levels, and we're working it hard and everything. So when we do the switch, and we're going to be nationwide March 1st, right? And all this stuff, we're going to be absolutely murdering it in there, and
okay, so Walmart's good because I've heard of them.
Yep.
I've heard of Walmart. What about like 7-Eleven, Circle K?
So Circle K is turning us on spring resets in a lot of states. Actually, our director of C-Store just got off the buyer yesterday. So they're about to turn us on in like the Gulf, like it's like 8 states or something like that. Depending on Circle K is going through like kind of they're adjusting some things, but doing great. 7-Eleven buyer is now turning us on. They're already just like, it was just, she's like, hey, I'm looking at this business because they didn't know about the change. I wasn't able to talk to any of them about the change until
when you say the change, you mean to beer wholesalers?
Yeah. So changing from,
when I say beer wholesaler, of course, I mean beer distributor.
Yeah. Sorry. I was confused for a second on that. And, I thought we were talking about the guy in Pennsylvania. So we, to stay very respectful of RNDC and follow protocol and everything we did, because everything we've done is just like, we're very transparent with them. I was waiting for the final, hey, we're good. Right. So once I got that and I got this letter approved, and I was like, all right, team, go let everybody know. So now while everybody is, we're instantly getting calls, right? So like Wawa's in Florida is turning us on. Circle K's in a lot of states. 7-Eleven national buyers all excited about it. Mavericks Come and Go is incredible brand. Quick Trip with a K, Quick Trip with a Q, Quick Trip with any letter, they're all in.
Every quick trip. There's a lot of them.
All of them. Even the Silent Z one, whichever one, they're all coming in. In California, it's there's the Nabi Oil group. They have Rebel and all the massive people. They're all like, okay, we know we can't have out of stocks. We know these guys are going to be in there, so we're in, right? And AMPM is about 800, 900 locations in California turning us on. And then there's other things like on the large format side. There's a lot now. We're going to get better programming because you want to make sure that we are, coming in and making sure if they're giving us an incredible display, maybe this juggernaut right here, how big that guy is. is if we're doing a big display, that display is not looking like crap the next day because, people bought it and they made the football display look like whatever, right?
Right.
So
And what about POS? Are you in that game?
yeah, so we order all our POS internally. We don't use any third parties. So we have a right behind me, behind this beautiful flag is a display is a 14,000 square foot warehouse. We ship all our point of sale, all our merch, everything in house. We order everything in the US, overseas, all that stuff is done by us. There's not one broker or anybody that we use. So if you're a distributor and you're like, hey, I'm putting a point of sale order. And by the way, that dashboard that I was telling you about, that's part of the whole process, right? So we don't use brand muscle or anything like that. Everything's all done by us internally. And as you can see, I'm kind of obsessed with bringing everything in house.
Yeah.
That
seems exhausting, by the way.
No, it's awesome.
Why do you say that it's awesome?
It's just like, it's awesome because you could control the service levels and the customer service. So if someone's like, hey, I need 1,000 beer buckets, it's not going to take 2 weeks and never to get to them or however way people work. That thing's getting packed up, ready to go in 24 hours and sending it to them. Right. Palletized, whichever way you want, everything. We have an incredible warehouse team. So we built this a year ago out of like kind of the vision of, I was like, we aren't fast enough at shipping things. And on top of that, storage fees, right? So now I could order thousands of LED signs and umbrellas. Umbrellas is a great example. We need to order umbrellas like 3 months, couple months before it's umbrella season, we'll call it. But if we use a third party, we have to pay for storage. And storage gets like, we're going to pay 3 months of storage by the time one of our distributors wants that umbrella in their place or whatever that is. So now the cost of, let's say umbrella costs, I don't know, $50, I'm making a number. Now it costs like 65 because we have to do that. So now our point of sale costs is fractions compared to everybody else because we're not in this thing. So it was a crazy idea. I mean, my brother was like, you sure about this? I was like, we got to own this journey. Like this has to happen. And then we could go make better and better point of sale and be more active. So if a certain accounts like, hey, can we get like a corrugated plastic stand? I'm like, yeah, we'll get you to in like 60 days, because it does take a little bit of time or maybe sooner. So we, and point of sale is fun. Like you can get really creative with point of sale, like not just have like a surfer.
Well, I'm glad you think it's fun because it seems expensive too. Like
it is.
It's hard it's hard. In other words, it's hard to gauge the ROI on point of sale because you're shipping it all out, and does it affect sales? Like it's a leap of faith.
But the trick is this, not the trick. The strategy is you go pre-sell it with your distributors. So you go, hey guys, I'm about to order for spring next year a bunch of umbrellas. And, are you guys down to work with it on us? Like, can we share the costs? No. Right. Okay. Well, then we might do it because that market makes sense. Maybe not. The other guy's like, yeah, we'll split the costs, whatever.
Right. Co-op. They call it co-op.
We'll co-op it, right? And be like, cool. How many do you think you need? The guy's like 250. Cool. Done. It's not like, hey, I just ordered 1,000. I need you to take 400 of them. The guys
because that's how the big brewers do it.
Oh, really?
They assign it. I mean, it's still co-opt, but they'll just ship. I mean, like I said, when I worked at a distributor, there was a full-time job that was a guy that would just go in the POS room and take it and put it in a dumpster. Literally.
Yeah. So by the way, year one, I assumed that was the case. Year two, and we're going now. It's like, hey guys, I'm about to buy a bunch of field goal posts. Who wants it? You don't want it? Field goal post doesn't work in your market because you're not allowed to have point of sale. Didn't know that. And so we're gonna have like pre-sales and be like, hey guys, you have 3 weeks to figure this out. Pick and choose whatever, pre-sell it, and then we go. I guess. I mean, this is when you don't know anything. You just start creating new processes that aren't like industry standard.
Yeah. I mean, God, think of how much you've learned in the last 2 years. It's
awesome.
You ought to write a book or something. But you mentioned umbrellas. You've mentioned umbrellas twice, actually. Mm-hmm. And that leads me to believe that you are selling this product on premise.
Yes.
How is that going? Because I sent you a picture. It was on my Instagram. Millicent and I were in a bar last week, and they had Happy Dad, and we ordered it, and I didn't think of Happy Dad as an on-premise beverage, but it seems to be available.
Well,
So-
it wasn't. Yeah, so it wasn't a on-premise beverage because when I first started, if you look at the playbook of building an alcohol brand, and that might work for other people, but we do everything backwards apparently. Is everybody's like, hey, on-premise, we got to grow on-premise because people drink it, and then they could go into the store and ask the store, hey, do you have Happy Dad? Guys, like, I don't have Happy Dad. Let me go look into this brand and order from the distributor. I was like, luckily we got into, Bevmo out the gate and GoPuff and some of them. So we kind of prove our model really quick on retail. My brother and I had a vision. We got to make a lot of money to hire more employees, right? So we got to be profitable. We have to make money. We got to do a bunch of things because we need to hire staff, and we were limited on funds. So our whole vision was try to be profitable as soon as possible. So how do you do that? Volume and off. So we became a off-premise machine, right? And on-premise was always kind of neglected. We have some incredible on-premise reps that hit great markets from Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas and like California and New York and other areas. So we hit these areas, and don't get me wrong, like our distributors have done some great jobs. Like North Carolina and Montana are just crushing it in sales on premise. So, but we haven't turned that into a machine yet, right?
Mhm.
You look at brands like Surfside, for example. Surfside in New York, they went all in on premise, right? They just went heavy and everything, and they did an incredible job with that. We were the opposite. We're like, let's go off. Let's get the volume, right? And their model worked for them. Our model worked for us. And so now this year, game on.
Game on.
We'll be everywhere. And we are in a lot of incredible places. I mean, we started investing in arenas. So we're in the new Intuit Dome in LA, which we're the official tea and seltzer. So that one, but that's, arenas are really interesting play. But
why is that interesting? Because it's
so here's the trick with an arena is you got to not just invest in an arena, but you got to make sure you have incredible partners and incredible setup. So when they're leaving that arena after enjoying your drink, they could go to an on-premise nearby. They could buy at a place. You got to make sure that you're dialed in within that like 50
area,
25 area, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how we look at things. So, and we're in the Intuit Dome, which is a new $2 billion most beautiful arena in the world. The Clippers play there in LA. I don't know if we're ever going to see a more beautiful arena than that in our lifetime. Allegiant Stadium with the Raiders, we're in there now. And then Yankee Stadium we're in, which is insane because we looked at last season, 2023 season, and the same amount of grab and goes and everything that we're in. We did I think 600 cases or something. And then this year we did 1,300. So what was a great story about that is we created a habit. So people are like, oh, this is where I go buy Happy Dad in those limited places. And then it grew, right? So that to us was like, oh, we got to be patient with these partnerships and let it kind of, that player that, if you and I lived in New York, maybe we go to 3 games a year, right? And the first one we didn't see Happy Dad, second time we did it, third time you're going there, and then the Happy Dad area. But on premise in general is at C-store and on premise are our 2 biggest focus. And then execution as a whole. So, everybody loves talking about like innovation. Do you have a new flavor of the week? Like whatever that is, like what's your new SKU and all that? Yeah, we changed the packaging, beautiful American flag brand for fruit punch, but we didn't add a new SKU. We just made an adjustment, right?
Right.
But
it's the same barcode.
Same barcode, right? And so we our whole execution, I've told our whole innovation for 2025 is execution. That's all that matters.
Beautiful.
We're not going to over SKU.
Nobody wants another SKU.
No, everybody asks for it, but they don't want.
They ask for it because they don't know what they want. The consumer gets confused with every SKU you add, every flavor, let's say.
If I have we have a delicious strawberry, right?
Yes.
That's never ever released. That's just going to cannibalize my amazing raspberry. So what am I doing? I'm just going to have those go to war? Like, no.
Right.
Like, keep the raspberry as is. Like, let Happy Mom grow and let it live its life. And
If you bring in which by the way, a strawberries does sound pretty good. So, maybe reconsider that. But you bring in a
raspberries
strawberry
better.
and then you'll end up selling half of both of them, which is, and you add the complexity without adding to
And,
overall
and then we
sales.
get kicked out because they're like, raspberry sales aren't doing great.
Right.
Yeah, because we had a
Exactly.
strawberry.
It's the biggest trap. It's the biggest trap that suppliers fall into. And honestly, in the last 2 years, it's been innovation station. Everybody's going out with everything, flavors, blah, blah, blah. And what I've heard from suppliers in the last 6 months, really, going into 2025, is that, hey, we're done. Wholesalers are done. Retailers are done. Stop coming out with SKUs. We need to go back to the core. And so I'm glad to hear that from you.
I was
because
like the your last year in San Diego when you did the Whole Foods buyer.
Yeah,
was like,
right.
stop
Mary.
yeah, Mary. Yeah.
Yeah,
was
she's like,
I need to stop getting. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how many hibiscus cucumber kombuchas has she pitched?
yeah. And Mary famously takes everything. Mary is great about giving
There's a
things
lot of flavors
chance.
in that bill.
Yeah, a lot of flavors in Whole Foods, and she's like, "Please stop for the love of God." When
Well,
Mary is telling you to stop, suppliers, take a hint and stop.
or send her another one. But
Just
you
send her
might say
one
yes
more.
to it still. But you know what's interesting is we launched our hard tea in 2024, right? And we're the only 1 gram of sugar, gluten free, better for you tea that's malt, right? So you got like 2 grams of sugar with I think serve size 2 and high noons 2 and all that, right? Then we go make this tea because our incredible director of product, Alex Isby, came in and he's like, I think I figured out how to make a really good tea. I'm like, we tried before you started here. It sucks. Like, we're just out. We're not gonna do it. He did it. I'm like, damn, it's damn good. So then we're like, all right, we're gonna go pitch this. Everybody launch it. Everybody's like, dude, spring of 2024, everybody's launching tea. I'm like, really? Because I don't know. I'm just like, we just made a delicious tea. But I was like, at the same time, we launched a seltzer when everybody's making a seltzer. So I'm like, I don't give a crap about this. But I'm like, learning from our days, I go, guys, we're not going to go in and we're not going to sell pallets in. We're going to go massage it in, get licensed to hunt while everybody's screwing up because everybody's making a 20 gram of sugar tea to try to compete against Twisted.
Right.
And Twisted is an insane, incredible brand, right? And so I was like, we're going to just massage ourselves in. We're going to just stay low and just show the numbers and everything. And there's a really big buyer who always busts my ass every year. And he's like, always gives me crap. Like, why are you with this guy and whatever and everything? And the only compliment he's ever given me is like, your tea's damn good. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I didn't record that call. I'm like, can we start that all over again? And he's a tough soul. Everybody in the market would say it. So now fast forward, Walmart's bringing like our better for you tea. And remember, this is the thing. And I've told everybody this, we are not competing against Twisted Tea. Twisted Tea is no different than Natty Light to Michelob Ultra, Mike's Hard Lemonade to White Claw, right? There's that category, Mike's Hard Lemonade drinker, and then there's a White Claw drinker. They're fundamentally different, right? They're the better for you category person, right? And so I was like, don't think this is a Twisted competitor. Don't go to war with the Twisted fans. Those guys love that thing forever, right?
Yeah.
So let's go do sampling. Let's massage it in and everything. And let's go get the unsweetened iced tea drinker, the person that has never bought a Twisted Tea, because that's just not part of what they want. And that's a lot of people, right? And Surfside is a great example of what they did, right? They did that pretty well. Their product isn't crazy. They just made the first freaking good tea.
Right. Not overly sweet.
Not overly sweet, hit the spot and everything. And then no bubbles. Right, no bubbles.
Yeah.
There's a world of no bubbles, and there's a world of bubbles. So we have both now. Kroger during fall recess, which I was kind of blown away, was they turned us on in like 1,000 stores in fall recess. I was like, fall recess, AppSco merger, all this stuff that goes on with Kroger. I'm like, they really saw, but that strategy of just massaging it in and like going and not forcing it in and not being the, hey, this is a new cool thing. It's like, just throw it out there and let the buyers look at the packaging and jump on it and trust it. And that's what we've done. So, now we have our seltzer and tea, and we're really going to go hard on being the number 2 tea in the nation, over the next couple of years. But it's because we have a better for you malt, right? More license.
Right. And what about the punch?
Fruit punch?
Yeah. How's the fruit punch?
Crush. So fruit punch and grape, death row grape are like, depending on the week, they're always fighting one-on-one.
Oh, really? Okay. So grape is right there with punch.
Always. Yeah. So, typically grape and fruit punch get authorized together. Sometimes a buyer will lean in on fruit punch first over grape, and then the grape comes in later. And so it depends on market, So I just got asked that yesterday. Is like, how's it in C stores? Depending on place. So was it Louisiana? We sell more grape than fruit punch, but then in Arizona we sell more fruit punch than grape. But it's like we balance that across the nation.
Right.
In North America, they're literally fighting side by side, and Snoop's been an absolutely incredible partner, but it's an absolute delicious flavor of the grape. Like we crushed it. And I think there's a bunch of grapes coming out now too, which I was like, oh, finally you guys realize that it's a really popular flavor. We've been out here for almost 2 years now, and it's only guys. But yeah, grapes popular flavor, guys.
I'll probably have to pull the clip from the last podcast you and I did together a year ago, but I said grape's going to be a sleeper. It's going to do well because nobody had it. And you're right. Now everybody's kind of waking up.
C4 grape, by the way.
What's that?
I think you walked in with like a C4 grape.
Yeah, I did. I was the only one in Bear County drinking C4 grape.
Yeah,
and
I was like, guys, grape is huge. Same with fruit punch. We're the only. I think Truly has a fruit punch, but it's not a priority. But we're the only fruit punch out there, and I don't care what anybody says. They could look at the data, and if someone's gonna be like, "Oh shit," we should probably look at our flavors.
Yeah,
come after us. Like we're already years ahead of you, and we're flying. So those are great. And our Raspberry Happy Mom is a big flavor, or now our priority for this year, because we launched Raspberry Happy Mom same time as Death Row Grape, so that kind of polarized the mom. And then there was a misconception of the market that everybody thought it was like just a Mother's Day drink. Right. And I was like, man, like people, men and women love it. And someone asked me the other day, he's like, is it cool for somebody to drink a Happy Mom? I'm like, dude, every guy drinks a Happy Mom. Like it's delicious. And going back to, you said strawberries taste good. We did a whole test between a bunch of moms and future moms. Well, they weren't future because they weren't pregnant, but you know what I mean? Like,
I understand.
Hope to be future moms. And they all picked the raspberry. It was like 8 out of 10 picked raspberry over strawberry.
So yeah, just sleep on it. Sleep on it. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to put everything out because somebody thought it was a good idea.
No, we're good. We're just gonna grow our SKUs, and how many SKUs?
Grow our SKUs.
I'm saying like the placements, the pods of it.
Oh,
my bad.
Yes.
Like, and then
pods.
Some places we just got one variety pack's hanging out there, right? Let's work on a journey to get all the variety packs.
Yes.
All of our SKUs in and our teas and all that. But that's, again, building trust with the buyers, because the world has completely changed in the last year and a half, right? People are very cautious with inventory. They don't want to over SKU. They all learned their lesson and everything. And so you just got to be patient with them and, massage it in and then remind them, hey, this is great. Because I remember there was a buyer who was like, oh, yeah, I don't know if we want to bring another seltzer. I'm like, what do you mean? Have you not seen our data? And one of our directors was like, I just pulled your chain's numbers, and single serve seltzers is like one of your fastest growing categories right now in your place. And the guy was like, didn't know that. He's like, so you might want to just start with our single serve seltzers. And the guy's like, yeah, of course. And but we're human, right? Like they're not.
I mean, you make a good point about the world did change in the last year and a half, and people are being more discerning about what SKUs and flavors they bring in. And it sounds like you've got a lot of organic growth ahead of you. Runway is the term that people use just in distribution, meaning C stores, like you said, and big box stores, and just getting it out there, because the brand recognition seems to be pretty good for a brand of that size.
Yeah, well, and going back to what you said, that you're like, I didn't expect you guys to be in that on premise. No, we're supposed to be in every on premise. That our brand, people want to drink it, and I think every interview when we talk about sales and like where I see our sales going in there, so
Yeah.
they could hold me to it.
Yeah.
So last year, I believe we were four. I told you 4 million. We hit 3.5. But again, there was
Yeah.
lots of layoffs.
It's
And,
fail.
yeah,
Let's
lots of
call that a
layoffs.
fail.
Lots of layoffs and adjustments with distributors and
Yeah.
wholesalers, probably both in that way, which is okay. It is what it is. And we, more importantly, we grew our business and our pods and everything while everybody was going through whatever they were going for. Right. And the thing about a lot of these things, they don't tell you, hey, in 3 months, we're about to do this.
All right.
You
Yeah,
just,
of course not.
you're just like, oh, I just learned this on Instagram. And,
Right. Yeah.
or
I learned it on Reddit.
yeah. I'm not so this year, we're going for 5 million cases. So that's
All right.
what we're gonna do. So Q1 is gonna be a transitional period. So we're gonna play some catch up and then we're just gonna fly.
And there will be transition issues every time you switch distributors. There's going to be some softness there, and
Yeah.
and you just gotta eat it. Just gotta eat it.
So we have some incredible advisors that joined us this past year. So Steve Fetchheimer joined us
from
We
New
have
Belgium.
an advisory board from New Belgium and Mr. Voodoo Ranger himself.
Yeah.
We have Kareem he's the CFO of Liquid Death that joined us. Samar he was with Paps. He's been at your events and everything. Sanjeev, the old CMO of Mike's Hard Lemonade. You know Sanjeev?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, I met most of these guys at your events, and then Caroline.
Awesome. Caroline
Caroline-
Lee. I mean,
Caroline Levy. So we built an awesome team of advisors that we're always chatting and they're just kind of like cheerleaders, but at the same time giving me like great feedback on a lot of stuff. So it's not just us anymore. It's like they've come in as advisors, and yeah, Caroline was literally me and Josh Singer, our VP of Business Dev. I was during a lunch break, met her,
at the summit.
yeah, at the summit. So that's the important thing, man. Like that's my third summit with you now, right? That's coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
in Palm Beach.
Yeah. And I think if anybody that's building any alcohol brand has to go to that summit. That summit was like so motivating to me. I knew nothing. We were just getting lucky, and then all of a sudden you meet a couple guys. Like I remember I met Eugene from Paps, and
Eugene Casper.
Like,
yeah,
you're just having lunch, and you just meet great people, and then they get to know you, and then a lot of these distributors I've chatted to, like, yeah, of course. I'm like, hey, do you know anything about Happy? I'm like, well, yeah, I know a lot, but I've also saw you speak, or I've heard about you in one way, shape, or form through these things, and I'm like, you're the guy that's where's the hoodie at the conferences. I was like, yeah,
yeah, that's me. That's me. No, I appreciate you saying that. Because I want the summit to be the place where relationships are built and deals get done, and
exactly what it is.
And it's where where the movers and shakers come together once a year in January to just hash out. Enemies get together and hash out their differences. Lovers reunite. It's just a place where wonderful things happen, and I hope to see you there.
Every year I've been there, something very important has happened to us because of that, right? So meeting Caroline Levy was a big, moment for us. Obviously, speaking there, so that was a platform for us for a lot of people to get to know more about us, and hear me and my brother speak and everything. But regardless of that, is every year there's something there, and maybe I don't meet somebody this year, but I learned something from your panels, and again, like this is no gas.
You'll meet somebody.
Like this is literally what I did. I remember me and Joe Butow, we came from a plane in our hoodies, and we're like, what do we do? And I had dinner with like Chris Lake.
Yeah.
Chris has been every one of these conferences. I always hang out with Chris, and he always gives me we'll talk about a million things, but I always leave with at least one thing that I'm like, damn, I got to think about that.
Right. My son has started a YouTube channel called Dog Party, and so I need to talk to you and John to see how he can scale this bitch up. It's
Yeah,
really
we save it later. I want to learn more about Dog Party. I don't know if our listeners want to hear about the creative of Dog Party.
I don't give a shit. I'll just talk about it.
Let's add
No,
another hour
no.
to it. Tell me the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, are you a Texas Longhorn fan?
Are you kidding? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What a
Damn.
great season. I'm so excited.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
We'll
Look
we'll
at-
see who we go with in that market.
Well-
It's a big toss up between the two there, just so you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well-
well, I'll let you know in a month and a half what ends up happening in that market.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm eager to learn. It's an important market.
yeah, yeah. Remember,
Well,
I actually, I remember when I met quarterback. What's his name? Quinn Evers.
yeah, Quinn.
Yeah. So, I met him when we did the Texas launch. He gave us a tour of the whole campus. Him and Bijan Robinson.
Oh yeah, that's right. Bijan was there when I was with you. I met.
Yeah, the pop up.
Yeah, I met them.
Longhorn fans love Happy Dad. When we get our distribution going in there,
Yeah,
it's like
For
in
sure.
every corner and every on premise, like that. Austin's going to turn into Happy Dad town.
yeah.
And then you and I could go in there and crush it.
I'm ready for it. Let's bring back Steve. Will do it. Let's go party with Steve. He's gotten a bad rap. I like Steve. Anyway.
All of them are absolute great souls, and they text me all the time. They're just like proud of everything that we did. And the biggest thing with all of them is like we had a simple business plan. Was like, let's launch, let's capture people, let's prove to them that we make a great product.
It was a simple business plan that turned very complex fast.
And
I
then they're like, hey, listen, if you ever need us to do anything, you let us know. And but they're like, we're just proud of everything you guys told us that you're gonna do. And I was like, let's make this bigger than a celebrity brand,
Yeah.
But when we need some support and whenever, like we let them know and everything. But the fact is, these hats, these hoodies, and everything,
Yeah.
everybody just wants that, and it's just awesome because like my note on like celebrity brands, and we've talked about this a lot. It's so easy to make the celebrity bigger than the product. And the whole point of it is to let the celebrities get you into the stores to prove a business model and the product itself, right? And all these celebrity brands, they always like get lost in that. And that's what we didn't. And so when people ask like, what are they doing? I'm like, on standby if we need them.
Yeah.
But like, the biggest thing is what they do behind the scenes, and they're the biggest cheerleaders, and they're just like, and they still consume a lot of the Happy Dad still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I have
Not
a
as much as
soft.
me, but they're on way more health kick than I am. But
Well, is there anything else that I'm missing, Sam, that we should talk about before we
no,
wrap this up?
We're I think we're good. I mean, we talked about everything, and I think it's awesome. I mean, we went hour and 45, and
That
I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. And
well, it's impressive what you have and your team have done in the last 2 years, and I wish you all the luck. We're going to be monitoring it, and I'll be writing this up for Monday's issue of Beer Business Daily to give you some cover there. And
appreciate it.
yeah, well, thanks for being on, Sam, and
here.
we'll check in with you down the road in a few months and see how this transition goes.
Yeah, we'll check in probably like around May or something after. It'll be a fun ride. But I'm excited for all the partners that believe in our brand, and that's what matters the most. Like these guys you'll be very happy with like a lot of the people that we're choosing, and I think we're gonna give them all like a really big fresh of air. I just stumbled at, but fresh breath of air, because I don't know if some of them understand how exciting of a brand this is when they bring it in and they go around, and the store owners and their employees and everybody like, holy shit, you guys are selling Happy Dad. It's like, yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for coming
Happy
and
New
speaking
Year.
with me on a Saturday. You know what? The beer business never sleeps, and
Nope.
we work all weekend long. And I'll see you down the road, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.